React make coding more quicker and more concise rather than using regular JavaScript. The functions and hooks is what make this happen, and this is what I'm going to talk about today, so let's go. Hooks in React are basically UseState, useRef, use blah blah. It is basically like a function. UseState is the first hook that I learned. I will use an example to better illustrate what does UseState do. It has the following syntax, and it also comes with another line something like this. This line says that when you click, you will set the count to count plus 1, which means increasing the count by 1. Think of UseState as a way to remember the values, like the number of times you click the button. The initial value or the first ever value remembered by the UseState is the one in the bracket of the UseState. It can be an integer, a string, an array, and more. The first value of the square bracket is the value that the UseState remembered. In this case, it is the count. You can't touch this variable and edit the content in the variable. You can only do so with the second variable. The second variable of the square bracket is a way to update the remembered value to a new value to remember. It is like a function. Typically, it will be named set something. Anything in the bracket of the set something is what the count will be updated to. In this case, it's the count plus 1. So, the whole flow will look something like this. Number 1, you click. Number 2, it will activate the set count. Number 3, the thing in the set count bracket will be the new count. And step 4, then you will use the new value in the variable count in wherever you want it. Props or properties allow you to pass data from one component to another. It is like a messenger. It makes your components more reusable and more configurable. For example, I have a greeting component with a prop condition. This component produces this header, says hello prop name. You may be asking, what does prop name mean? As you call the greeting component, you will need to define what the name you want inside the prop.name. So if you put name equals to Alice, for example, this will produce the header and then replace prop's name with the name you put. In this case, hello Alice. Same is true for Bob. Now, what this means is that you can reuse the greeting component but with the different name. You can also go a step deeper by adding another variable like age. It does the same process. Event handling in React is similar to handling event in regular HTML, but with a few differences. You attach event handlers directly to the element in your JSX. Here is an example where clicking a button triggers an alert. The event handler function, which is handle click, is called when the button is clicked. Now you need to define what does the handle click function do. In this case, it produces an alert that says the button is clicked. Pretty simple. Another event handling that can be useful is updating the data in real time. This event handling consists of a UseState hook, which I talked about just now. An example that best illustrates this is a form, where I type my to-do list item to put in. To update the data in real time, you should put the onChange event handler and set its value to the handle task change function. Then I define the handle task change function with the event condition. This is how I define the function. I use the second variable of the UseState to update my to-do item to whatever I type, which is what the event.target the value does. Then I will display the to-do item in the task box by putting the value equals to to-do item in the input tag. Condition rendering allows you to display different elements or different components based on the condition you put. It is like using an if statement in your code. It has this syntax which consists of a question mark and a colon. The first variable in this syntax is the condition, whether it is true or false. If it is true, the second variable will be activated. If it is not true, the third variable will be activated. For example, I have a user greeting component that displays a different message based on whether the user is logged in or not. If you are logged in, it will produce this HTML header. If not, it will produce this HTML header. List rendering is one of the most common tasks that you will face in React. When you are working with dynamic data, you will often want to display a list of items, whether it is users, shopping list, or whatever that consists a list. The map function is your best friend here because it helps to do so. It is a method provided by JavaScript that allows you to create a new array by applying a function to each element of the original array. For example, if you have a list of users that contains the name and email, the map function will define the function that you defined in the map function and apply it to each user. In this scenario, we want to display each user's name and email in a neat and organized manner. We will use the map function to loop through our array of users and return a list of items for each one. Here's what it will look like. The first round has the name Alice and an email of alice@example.com. This is what I define in the map function. For every user, list down the name and email for the user. In this case, Alice and alice@example.com. And add a button that alert hello the name of the user. In this case, hello Alice. Then close the list tag. But you haven't looked completely through the entire list yet. You still have Bob, so the same process will happen until you loop through the entire list. Notice the key attribute in the list tag. It is crucial as it helps React identify which item has changed, are added, or are removed. They should be unique and stable, something like an ID that you should be given in each element in the list. If you are curious why this function has this condition, it is because it is using the user's prop straight away, rather than typing the full props user thing. So yeah, these are the functions that I learned in React. Anyways, that's my opinion. Bye.